I spent the first part of my career as a healthcare attorney practicing corporate and regulatory work, which means I helped physicians and hospital systems with all the things they needed to do to run their businesses, from physician recruitment to contracts to employee well-being. Modern Western medicine is broken. Our healthcare system is neither health nor care at this point. In Western medicine, we make everything a fight. We fight disease, we fight cancer, we fight viruses, we fight each other. In Eastern societies and ancient cultures, it's more about balancing and purifying and cleansing. Our current perspective is very reductionist. And if we don't find what we're looking for, we assume that the absence of evidence is evidence of the absence. And it's not. We need to look at the whole living system and understand how one part influences all of the others. We need to flow with instead of fight against. Medical knowledge is exploding like never before. In the 1950s, medical knowledge would double every 50 years or so. By 2010, the number was about 3.5 years. And today, it's probably up to medical knowledge doubling every 73 days, which is crazy. It gives physicians a huge opportunity to have so much information about how our bodies and systems function, and yet also presents a terrible problem of how do we keep up? How do we know? It also puts a tremendous amount of pressure on physicians to keep up. One of the overarching problems in healthcare today is that we're paying for activity, not results. And we've been very successful at generating all of that activity. So successful that we've created a tremendous amount of regulations to monitor and control that activity. Currently, we're toggling between a system where the sickest patients are seen for 15 minutes every 3 months and a system where the sickest patients are sent home with all sorts of devices that monitor temperature and blood pressure and even stethoscopes that monitor heart and lungs. And all of those things are controlled by AI with telehealth visits. Physicians then come in to review the treatment plan of what AI has recommended. And this has a huge advantage because it helps us to monitor patients to keep them potentially well. And yet at the same time, we're removing the authentic connection between a provider and a patient. We're taking away the ability and the need to be seen, to be known, to be heard, to be felt in person. Statistics show that the US is in last place in health among industrial nations. Almost 42% of adults are obese. 1 in 5 children are obese. We have a huge crisis with metabolic diseases, heart disease, cancer. And at the same time, our providers are also sick. They're suffering from burnout and malaise. They're overworked, they're stressed out, and they have a variety of their own physical and mental challenges. The schedule for a physician is ridiculous. They're from early in the morning until late in the day. Often their options for healthy food, hydration don't exist. And the things that they may even be recommending to their patients, they're not able to do themselves.
Good. Blue Cross Shield. Blue Cross and Blue Shield reports how millennials. Do you remember that one?
I think so. Let me try it. A recent Blue Cross and Blue Shield study shows that millennials have higher rates of health conditions than any of their predecessors, and their health is peaking at age 27 before declining. A 2018 study shows that 50% of Americans feel lonely, isolated, or left out. And the Sigma CMO has been quoted as saying that loneliness has the same impact of smoking 12 cigarettes a day, making it more dangerous than obesity. The solution to these problems is to look at the whole living system, to understand that our body is connected to our mind and our spirit, and to start to educate ourselves and dive deep into real food, hydration, vibration, energy, and music. In The Awakened Brain, Dr. Lisa Miller points to neuroscience research showing that we are biologically equipped to be spiritual beings and engage in spiritual activities, things like being in nature, meditating, and connecting. It matters what we put in and on our bodies. If food isn't grown in nutrient-dense soil, then it's lacking in the minerals and the hydration and all the support that our bodies need to function properly. It matters what we let into our minds, and it matters that we feed and nurture our spirit. How do we do this? We do the simple things. We go for a walk outside. We love our kids. We eat good food, and we reconnect. We reconnect to ourselves, and we start to be still and know. We start to quiet down. We meditate. We connect with nature, with the ground, with our communities around us. We can empower ourselves to take an active role in our own health, to become our own best health advocate. The Harvard study conducted over the past 80 years followed several generations of men and looked at what leads to a long and happy life. And what it found is so cool. It's not age, it's not diet, it's not exercise, it's not your job title or how much you make. What determines happiness is who cares about you and who do you care about. The quality of your relationships determines the quality of your life. Or said differently, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your relationships. A research study by a psychologist suggests that only 50% of our happiness is determined by immutable factors like genes, temperament, or our set point. The other 50% is determined by our circumstances, things we have a lot of control over. And those three main factors are how we frame or reframe a situation, how we express gratitude, and how we choose to be generous and kind. The tragedy is we've forgotten. We've forgotten the intrinsic knowing inside of us. We've forgotten how to connect with others. We've forgotten the ancient truths of community. And we've forgotten that our bodies and nature are the most advanced form of technology we have. The result, slowly, over the past century, and now all of a sudden, we're suffering from a total collapse in meaning. Who can we trust? Our teachers, our religious leaders, our politicians, our doctors? They're all called into question. And we're increasingly being removed from any human-to-human connection, which makes it even harder for us to tell if someone or something is authentic. And on top of all of that, there's exponential everything, a total overload of information, from technology to social media to opinions and even population. We're in a period of turbulence. We're in the midst of an accelerated collective unraveling of our stories and agreements. We've lost the art of gathering. People are desperate for community. Everybody wants to be part of something. How do we begin to transform our health and well-being? Transforming our health and well-being happens in groups. It happens when we're empowered to take control of our own health, when we try new things, when we find our voice, when we start to self-regulate and solve our own problems, and when we're supported by people to keep going, when we're loved. We don't transform illness into health in isolation. We do so in a tribe. And we can start by introducing the people that want health to each other. Research shows that we're spiritual beings and that interaction and touch is a foundational part of our emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being. We can't do the me well without the we. We amplify human potential through the power of community and vice versa. And we need to move from the survival of the fittest to the survival of those that fit together. To create a new paradigm, it's vital that we regain control of the stories we're telling ourselves because they're shaping our future. We have to remember our inspiration, we have to heal our pain, and we have to connect to each other like never before. Their entire industry is devoted to personal growth, self-help, biohacking, and yet our bodies are the highest form of technology. Can we learn to operate them as well as we do our devices? Can we regulate ourselves so that we can relate to others? Rather than getting overwhelmed, can we just do the obvious? Can we sleep deeply, eat real food, and hydrate? Can we play and give thanks, breathe? Can we make love and commune? And there's the keystone, community. A new path to rebuild health and well-being from the inside out will require vulnerability, self-care, patience, and a commitment to yourself. Relationships are hard. Belonging may be even harder. And yet the quantum leap in our own evolution happens when we truly participate in community. This is where the real potential lies, when we give ourselves the proof and the permission to reconnect to our bodies, our hearts, and our communities. Love is critical to our health, well-being, and the survival of our species. The journey of life is the move from the love of power to the power of love. When I think about love, I think of Whitney Houston's song, The Greatest Love of All. And she sings, the greatest love of all is learning to love yourself. That's the greatest love of all.